Okay, and finally, after the compression test, we are going to put it back the head and we are going to torque the head properly. Once again, we are going to torque the head. First question, do you have the service manual? That's the most important part. You have the service manual, and now check where, in what page are located the torque specifications specific for the head, and verify what type of head bolts you have. You have a 12 points sockets, you need a 6-point sockets, you need a Allen sockets. Yeah, verify what type of sockets are the sockets recommended for that specific head bolts. Verify if you have the torque wrench. Normally for diesel engines you need half, 3/8 is not enough. Okay, verify that you have the sockets, verify that you have the torque wrench. You can use any type of torque wrench, click or digital. Both of them are accurate. I recommend both of them. Try to use a good brand. Believe me, if you use cheaper torque wrenches, you have different measurements. Alright, other important recommendations. Try to replace the bolts for original bolts, new ones. Can I replace a couple of bolts for all the head bolts? Use standard bolts, but 2 of those bolts are broken. Can I replace only 2 of those bolts? But can I replace those 2 bolts for standard? The rest of the bolts are metric. No. You need to replace all of them, and you need to use exactly the original specification. If the originals are standard bolts, use standards. If the originals are metric, replace for metric. Never try to mix it. That's the most important. If for some reason it's not possible to find the new bolts, the original bolts, for example standards, and you found that the similar bolts metric, yes, you can replace all of them for metric, but I recommend try to repair the threads. Try to pass the new tab in order to be 100% sure that the threads are exactly the same like the bolts that you have. The procedure is simple. I explained in our class of introduction the procedure. You need to select the tab appropriated according with the type of threads on the head bolts, and rectify the threads. This is very important. Alright, be careful, check the specifications, check the procedure recommended for the manufacturer in order to apply the torque appropriated. There are manufacturers that they use 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps in order to do the procedure. Follow the recommendations of the manufacturer, specific for the number of steps or the procedure to apply the torque. If you don't have that information, you only know what is the maximum torque recommended for those head bolts, I recommend use the spiral procedure, like the picture that you have on the screen, starting in the middle and finishing on the sides of the head. This is a good technique. Normally when I don't have the information, if I am working in the middle of the ocean and I only know the maximum torque, I use that spiral recommendation, or in zigzag, like other manufacturers recommend. Okay, but the spiral recommendation is good. You start in the middle and you follow the spiral path until you finish on the side of the head. And for example, if the torque recommended, the final torque is 120 foot-pounds, for example, I recommend start with 40. You calibrate your torque wrench in 40, and you start according with the procedure 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. After that, you increase 80, 80, 80, 80, after that 100, 100, 100, 100, and after that 120, and you finish in 120. This is my recommendation. Some manufacturers, they recommend the torque with the torque wrench, and after that with the angle tool apply 90 degrees additionally, or 120 degrees additionally. For that reason, I recommend follow the recommendations, the torque recommendation of the manufacturer. The service manual is mandatory. If you don't have the service manual, don't try to do any type of reparation. If you have the service manual, you follow the recommendations and you don't have any problem. All right? No, because a friend of mine, no friend of mine. The friend of mine is the service manual. All right? This is the procedure. Don't use when you apply the torque. Use impact tool sockets, and never use extensions, because if you use extensions, you modify the torque recommended. In some situations, is because it's not possible access the bolt, you need an extension. I recommend, if you use an extension, add 10% additional torque. If you use an extension, if you use an extension, add 10% to the recommended torque. Never use all bolts. Replace the bolts for new ones, and install the bolts dry, no wet. Never impregnate the bolts with oil. Install the bolts dry. Why? Because if you apply oil on the threads, with the vibration on the engines, the bolts will be loose in a couple of years. I don't recommend use oil. I prefer that you install the bolts dry.